And bonjour, Darko.
Bonjour, Bruno.
So 2 episodes ago, we talked about random walk, and we were in Times Square. Then we talked about Fibonacci Day, and today we're going to talk about the most controversial topic in statistics, in biostatistics, which is frequentist versus Bayesian. And we're gonna make it controversial a little bit. And our executive producer here, Jack, is gonna at the end of this decide for himself for sure if he's a frequentist or if he's a Bayesian. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal, right? People are so they fight all the time about that. If you're on Twitter, right, and the biostatistical channels, everybody's fighting. What are you going to do? So today we're going to try to explain to people like me, who frankly, I don't understand. I don't understand what a Bayesian is. I understand, I think a little bit about frequentist, that the p-value, but not really. And I certainly don't understand Bayesians. The only thing I know is that the Bayesians are annoying. They're probably right. Nobody's listening to them. So they're always upset and angry. And the FDA doesn't care about what they say when approving drugs. So they unlove, and that makes them a little toxic in some ways. So I know you're recovering Bayesian. So you're the perfect person, Darko, to explain to me what this is all about, starting maybe with a history of this whole thing.
Yes, Bruno, such a fantastic topic. And most people actually think that frequentism was, they actually consider frequentism as normal statistics. So they assume that it came before Bayesianism. And actually, it's quite the opposite, that we can backtrace in history Bayesianism in the 70-20, 70-60. There's a debate, but actually that is the century where we are really locating the core of Bayesian statistics.
Who is that fellow? Is that Thomas
Yeah,
Bayes?
this is Thomas Bayes.
Oh.
This was a, I believe, English minister and of course mathematician who invented the famous Bayes formula, and that is the formula that is the foundation of Bayesianism, even though the formula itself does not define Bayesian statistics. It was actually, Bayesian statistics was actually deployed and popularized later after Bayes, but using his formula. So one of the most famous mathematicians that actually popularized Bayesian statistics was Pierre-Simon Laplace,
The French guy.
mathematician.
The French
Yes,
guy.
the French
Now,
guy. Yes.
this guy was Brit, and he looks like a reasonable fellow. And look at
Yes, Laplace.
Look at Laplace. No, yeah, Laplace looked like a French guy. Look at him.
Yeah, Laplace
yeah.
looks like a general. He looks like
yeah. You don't want to mess with him either.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with Laplace. So the frequentism, on the other hand, was really formulated in the form that we have today in 1920s, 1930s by famous Ronald Fisher, who was actually a mathematician that invented so many different things like p-values and hypothesis testing and everything that we use today in the framework we like to call the frequency.
So here, let's see how Fisher looks. I think we're just going to decide who looks better, and we're going to have them win. Let's see how Ronald Fisher look, and we'll maybe that's it. Maybe we'll say, well, who looks better?
Yeah,
there's Fisher with the other guy you mentioned earlier. There's Fisher and
there's the
Pearson.
Pearson also, another, yes.
Right.
But really the most popular in frequentism is the Fisher. And these two frameworks, as we like to call them in statistics, actually they kind of And this is the Ronald Fisher, right? So
That's what a Fisher. Okay.
yes, he was another English mathematician from the 1920s, 1930s. That's actually the period.
It looks pretty serious to
Yeah.
me.
Yes, yes, but a fantastic mathematician. This person is actually responsible for majority of statistics that we use today, for example, in clinical research, in approving drugs and everything. So majority of
Okay.
what we use today comes from Ronald, and really, really
Okay,
an
Ronald.
amazing.
That's Ronald.
Yeah.
There's Thomas, Ronald, and I want to see Pearson and see how Pearson looks. So Fisher was in the 20, and then you have to explain what that is because I still don't understand the difference. So uh, let's see Pearson. As soon as Shahir finds his picture. So explain to me as if 59. What's the easiest way to understand the difference between frequencies and that's
Oh, we
Pearson.
have the Pearson.
It
Yeah,
it looks
another
like I don't know. It looks
serious,
like
serious
yeah.
mathematician.
It,
Yeah,
that's Pearson. It looks like a general.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, all right. So how would you explain to me the difference between this? I know nothing. Try me. Frequentist versus Bayesian.
Okay, the best way to quickly get to the point is to start from the frequentist. So let's say I'm a frequentist, and I want to evaluate a specific
Now,
phenomenon
hold
statistically.
on a second. What is Hitler doing there?
Oh,
What's going
who's
on
that?
here? Who's that? Is
I
that
don't
Pearson
know.
in
I
his
don't know.
younger days? Or, it looks like I don't like that mustache at all. I don't like it a bit. What is going on here?
Oh, this
Jersey,
is Jersey Neyman. Oh,
Neyman.
this is another frequentist, uh, another another mathematician who popularized frequentist framework.
What
Uh,
what's with a
oh, oh,
mustache?
well, I don't know. I
Okay,
don't
all
know
right,
really.
okay, all right. Let's go back to the difference.
Okay, so the difference, if I'm a frequentist, I do an experiment, right? And I want to make a conclusion from my experiment. I want to estimate uh, some statistical features in that experiment. Now, if I do experiment just once, it's not going to mean too much for me. But if I keep repeating the experiment and the experiment gives me the same result each time, on that long run frequency, I can base my estimation, my results, my conclusions, my assumptions.
So
So
each,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
no, finish
Sorry,
your point.
go ahead.
Yeah, finish your point.
So the long run frequency is really the core of the frequentists, and to that long run frequency we connect other things like p-values, confidence intervals. So they're all part of the same framework, but at the core is long run frequency. Hence the
Okay,
name
so
frequentist.
first, that's helpful. And I guess in a clinical trial, our world, right? Biostatistics, AI, that's this podcast and our company. Each patient, I guess, is an experiment, is an event. And and we measure the outcome of that N of one experiment. Is that right? And so the frequency of the outcome for each patient in the clinical trial makes it a frequentist framework. Can we say that?
Well, you could say that each patient is like a micro experiment, but you can also observe the whole trial as experiment. So you could say, well, if I was to repeat this trial over and over, that would be a long run frequency of the experiments. So in frequentism, you say the best result, the most accurate result would actually come from repeating many, many trials. And that's what we have in meta-analysis, right? Meta-analysis is also very much based on the frequentist framework. But, as we have here in the funny sketch is, a conflict, if I may say, a statistical conflict between the Bayesians, who actually say, no, it's not just about long run frequency. We can also have our own subjective uh, view about the world around us.
But,
So we can
but
subjectively calculate stuff, right?
what's the problem with looking at long range frequency? It seems the Bayesian always have a problem. They say what? Why would we want something else than just looking at long range frequency, especially in areas like healthcare when you can have multiple repeated events? Patient taking the drug, something happens, something doesn't happen, another patient takes the drug. It seems perfect for repeated experiments.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why frequentism is so dominant in clinical trials and in regulatory frameworks, because it's very well adapted for that field. So, I mean, it's definitely robust. Frequentism is robust, rigorous, reproducible, and that's what makes it ideal for clinical trials. However, there's so many other fields where you cannot really repeat experiments. So that's one of the main arguments for Bayesians is, well, you guys frequentists, you claim that this repetition of experiments is the key, but a lot of times you cannot repeat an experiment. Like you cannot experimentally calculate if a comet is going to hit the Earth in next
But
100
let me
years,
interrupt you.
right?
So I agree that they are rare events, but in our world, they're repeated events, and there are people who are very, very passionate, saying that in clinical trials, we should not use p-value. We should use prior and whatever the Bayesian likes to do. Why is that? Because they have a problem, right? They must have some legitimate, except for annoying everybody else and bitching all the time. They must have a reason. Right? What is their problem? Are they saying that history doesn't repeat itself, or are it's not a normal distribution? They have some kind of argument, right?
Yeah, their main argument and what they generally consider as a problem is that, which is actually not a problem, as I will explain later, is that, with frequentist framework, you actually don't get the probability of what you are estimating, let's say the treatment effect. And they say, well, us Bayesians, we're going to calculate, instead of calculating this confidence interval and the p-value, we're going to calculate actual probability that this treatment works. However, the downside of that is that that probability is usually calculated in the subjective form, in the form that cannot be falsified and reproduced on the long run, which is what frequentist offers. So Bayesians, let's give some love to the Bayesians. Bayesians,
They need it.
Bayesians also, have their own angle. So even though I am a frequentist, and if just for the audience, I was a Bayesian once, but now I am a frequentist. So going back to the Bayesians, there are fields in science where Bayesian framework is applicable and can give its own advantage. For example, quantum physics, right? Quantum physics, the weird world of quantum physics, where things do not behave as we would expect in the, let's say, normal world for us human beings, where, for example, you can have a particle that's in two places at the same time.
Yeah,
Frequentist framework does not allow that. Frequentists say,
I'm sure.
this particle is exactly here. If I was to measure it,
Yes.
it's here. But the Bayesian framework allows you to model probability of this particle being on multiple places. However, again, going back to the world, of oncology clinical trials, frequentist framework is more applicable, I would say. Even though in phase 1 trials sometimes Bayesian framework is used. Now, what's very interesting is that these two frameworks, they always conflict each other. The professionals, I like to call it the MMA of statistics. So it's like, two cats
We'll get
fighting
a
each
cat
other.
fight. Yeah, cat fight between
Yeah,
the frequentist and the Bayesian. I'm sure there's some joke
yeah,
like a frequentist and a Bayesian gets into a bar, and there's probably a joke like that somewhere. Yeah.
yeah. They get into a bar, and you're gonna have a fight. If they're together in a bar,
I'm
definitely.
wondering if there've ever be actually a physical fight or a duel, or like some someone killing someone else,
Yeah, well,
something terrible happening because of frequentist versus the Bayesian fight. Like
yeah.
people like suing each other or fighting or dueling or
I, I
hitting
think
on each other's wife or something.
it's probable. I think it's highly probable.
Now, who is the better looking? Who's the coolest? The frequentist or the Bayesian?
I don't know. Better
The-
looking. I mean, I don't know. I think Ronald Fisher is like, he's serious, and he has
I
that.
s-
But Laplace was also. Oh, the MMA. Oh, this is Conor
yeah.
McGregor, right? Oh,
Oh yeah, no, he's a
yeah.
what? He's a Bayesian for sure. No, he's a frequentist. Look at that. You can.
No,
This
no.
is a.
You
He's
know,
got a pummel of the Bayesian on the corner there. Yep.
he has to be frequentist. The beard and everything. He has to be frequent.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, this is.
yeah. This is not going to win again, McGregor. I tell you.
Oh, oh
Uh,
yes.
now this is a guy. Yeah, this is Fisher.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is Fisher. One of the most
Fisher Pearson. Yeah,
famous, yeah,
yeah. You don't want to mess with
statisticians
that
of all
guy.
time.
Now this guy looked burly, but I don't know if he made it through the fight though. Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. It's an
the
old,
old
very
guy
old
is,
picture.
yeah, the old guy. Yeah. All right. So now it becomes, oh no, no, we don't want to see that guy. That guy needs to. No, 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 that guy. No, no. Let's move on. So now it comes the moment of truth. We're gonna see. Number one is Shahir understood something about the difference. So Shahir, I always look up or whatever because it's like there's coming down from the sky. Shahir, can you hear us? Executive producer Shahir, we'll put this together. Uh, so first, what did you understand about the difference between Bayesian and frequentist? And second, who are you? Pick your camp,
Pick your fighter.
pick your fighter. Yeah, yeah.
Am I audible to you? Hello,
Yes, you
hello,
are.
hello, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me in into the podcast. This is Shahir, of course, from the background. So because Darko used to be a Bayesian, now he's a frequentist. There's usually a reason that people move to better. You know what I'm saying? And also, Fisher is way more good looking. If that justifies. I mean, everybody has an opinion, but I always wanted this kind of, a
Yeah,
beard. So why not? Like let's choose
So,
this.
yeah. It's such a good
well,
style. It's
it's a
yeah.
good style. Yeah, it's a good. Oh, he looks like one of our clients, older. One of my clients look exactly like that. So here's what I say: if you want to be, you have to decide. Do you want to be successful or do you want to be right? If you want to be right, maybe you're Bayesian because I think they have some kind of theoretical argument why p-value doesn't mean anything, or it's not a normal distribution, or we assume a certain distribution of event which is not proven. They're probably right. But if you want to be successful, certainly in getting a drug approved by the FDA, you got to be a frequentist anyway. But if you want to make money, you better be a frequentist. So that's my bottom line for now. I still don't fully understand how Bayesian works and what their beef with frequentism, but maybe we'll do another technical call another time. And no, and we'll forget that guy. We'll, oh my God. Yeah, yeah. What's the deal? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But so, any final word of frequency versus Bayesian, and then we'll conclude this podcast. We'll have
Yeah.
to figure out what we talk about next time, by the way.
You know what? We should be fighting for the peace in the world between Bayesians and Frequentists. So let's make peace. Let's not fight.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. And I fighting
Yeah,
guys. Let's,
except for MMA. MMA of
yes, yes,
statistics.
yes. And on that note, merci, Darko. Au revoir.
Merci and au revoir.